Hello, everybody. Welcome back. For those of you who don't know me, my name is John Clayton. I'm a recovering drug addict and alcoholic, and I've been clean and sober since February 21st, 2021. And um, actually, it's interesting because we just recently passed the 21st, which is my clean date, even though I've been clean, I got clean in February, but the 21st, which has recently passed, made it 3 years and 9 months that I've been clean and sober. Yeah, so we're going to carry on in the Living Clean book. Um, if you've been here before, then welcome back. And if this is your first time here, then I'm glad you're here. You're in the right place. Um, we're still in chapter 3 in the Living Clean book as the journey continues, and we're going on to a conscious contact. So let's carry on. As we develop more ways to relate to our higher power, we find benefits in all our relationships. For some of us, this never comes to involve a higher power that we would call God. I trust the unity in NA, said a member, that it will reach out to me and be there when I reach out. NA has carried me when I couldn't walk. Learning to pray is a process, the journey of its own reward. I learned the serenity prayer without the first word because I knew I didn't believe in that. When I was working the third step for the first time, I began to pray saying thank you. Most of the time now, it's not please or thank you or any kind of dialogue. It just is. I take a deep breath and cherish this quiet moment of being connected. Prayer helps us to let go of our fear and distrust and to live in faith. We don't have to understand it for it to work. We open the door to a faith deep within that allows us to meet adversity when serenity with serenity. I strive to practice I strive to practice prayer in every moment, said one member. Of course, I fall every day. I fail every day. But it is changing my perspective. I am very aware of the fragility and preciousness of life. Instead of giving so much thought to why things happen, we look for what we can learn. A member shared in early recovery, my prayers were sporadic acts of desperation and surrender. I learned prayer as a way of practice conscious contact. Now I find if I can remember my higher power in the moment, my life becomes a prayer. My wisdom is activated in meditation, and I exist within the will of my higher power. I am spiritually free, the farthest from active addiction, and the closest to the pure joy of existence in the moment. Many members believe that our higher power communicates with us through the people who come in our lives. One member explained, sharing in meetings is my highest form of prayer because I know my higher power is there. I can feel it, and I don't hold back. Often, I need another person in front of me so I can pretend I'm talking to them. When I talk to God, sometimes I get answers through them. Active listening is a form of meditation. Some of the most important messages are delivered through some unlikely people. When we listen with an open mind, we can hear the message we need. One of the gifts of empathy is being able to hear one another's truth. We learn to settle inside ourselves. That spiritual peace becomes the root of our emotional stability, and it gives us the courage to take risks. When we can quiet our minds, we can better hear the answers we need. So often we are desperate for answers that the right that that are right in front of us. In some ways, conscious contact with a higher power is no different from any other relationship. Meeting a person every day at the same time and place is a good beginning in getting to know someone. But to improve that relationship, we have to be willing to share openly. Intimacy grows over time. When we are close to someone through a difficult time, we learn whether we can trust them. The relationships that carry us through hardship are precious to us. Being present and in the moment and feeling alive, aware and connected are feelings we hear about most often when members are sharing about their experiences with prayer and meditation. Most of us don't feel that profound sense of unity in every waking moment, but just knowing that we can feel it sometimes brings a sense of security. The fleeting feelings I long for is peace within, based on nothing outside myself. I just have to be willing to put the world down long enough to have a chance at it. Even if we experience that peace for just a moment, we can keep it in our hearts as we move through our lives. A member said, I was so tired of being committee of excuse me. A member said, I was so tired of that committee in my head talking endlessly about how I wasn't good enough and nothing would be alright. So one day in a meditation, I gave them all musical instruments. You know, they're a pretty good band. When we notice the word ritual embedded in the word spiritual, we realize how important it is about our spirituality that some kind of regular expression. Practicing principles is just like any other form of exercise. The more regularly and consciously we do it, the more better we get at it. When I don't practice my morning prayer, said one member, I feel disconnected, like I am running on my own power. Of course, we could not tell anyone how, when, or where to pray. Conscious contact may not involve words at all, but some sort of regular pause or reflection is useful. I struggle with getting to 100%, said a member. I make a good progress towards a goal, then I get scared back off and berate myself for not making it all the way there. Regular spiritual practice teaches us the discipline to follow through on other commitments. The ability to complete a goal comes from the practice of diligence. Developing some autonomy from our negative feelings is one of the rewards of meditation. Our practice helps us to focus and see things through. We remember to put our problem first and to respect our own limits. We strive every day to keep ourselves spiritually balanced. Sometimes we are more successful than others. When we when we act in love and humility, we are amazed at what we can accomplish. We stop being so afraid of ourselves and find the courage to stand up and for what we believe. Our commitment to Narcotics Anonymous may be the first promise we ever keep. I always sought freedom from restraint or authority. The way I convinced myself of my freedom was to become a nomad. When you are never anywhere for long, you can pretend that your choices don't confine you, that you have no trace on the world. My emotional luggage was always standing at the door. NA has asked me to do what I have never agreed to do before, to stay. We must come to terms with our own resistance in order to make a commitment to the program. But the unconditional love we learned in the fellowship is one of the most solid things we have experienced, trusting that gives us the courage to stay through our discomfort. More and more we find that the principles of the program guide our choices. The ability to choose wisely begins when we are able to be honest with ourselves about our motives and our desires. Sometimes doing nothing is the most spiritual thing we can do. It can keep us from having to make amends later, and it gives us time to seek guidance from our higher power. We can have our feelings without being had by them. Laughter and joy can be as spiritual as prayer and service. Some say that enlightenment begins when we lighten up on ourselves. Hmm. Yeah, that is so true. You know, we are, or at least I am, my own worst critic. And even today, being in living in recovery today, I still get pretty hard on myself, because I have this idea in my head that now that I'm living in recovery, or now that you know drugs and alcohol aren't the main factor that 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 run I don't know what I'm trying to say, that runs my life, I guess. But now, because I am clean and sober, and I, for example, since I have been clean and sober, I've been struggling with sleeping. I haven't been able to sleep properly. I haven't slept properly since I've been clean and sober, like straight up. I'm lucky if I sleep constant for an hour at a time. Well, excuse me, which completely sucks. Things aren't so bad now as they were when I first moved in here, because it was like every other night I was waking up in a weird place in my home because of constantly sleepwalking. I mean, now I try and make a conscious effort to actually crawl into my bed, but again, maybe I'm laying there for an hour if I'm lucky, and I just can't seem to lay there anymore. I have to get up. I really don't know what it is. I mean, I know doctors want to give me sleeping pills and this and that, but I can't take I can't speak either. I can't take pills. I mean, I can. I just don't want to. I mean, I already take a pill that keeps me from getting dope sick, and and during this month alone, you know, I reduced myself in my dosage, so I've been feeling that a little bit this month, but one day at a time. That's what I'm going with, and you know, and as it goes, just for today, I don't have to pick up. Just for today, you don't have to pick up. You know, just for today, we don't have to pick up. You know, just for today, we can do it together. Just for today, you know, we don't have to do it alone. And, if you feel like leaving a comment, please do. I would love to read it. Um, or even, I mean, if you want to share a story, I would love to hear it. Um, This is all new for me, and I'm just constantly trying to do things now that are going to constantly better myself. And I don't know if you can hear in the background, but even Mittens is trying to talk. They're gonna hear you on camera, Mittens. Um, but yeah, I hope you come back again. Mittens, hope you come back again, right, Mittens? Hey, you hope they come back? Yeah, good girl. And yeah, so let's stay clean and sober together another day, and we shall win this war. Thank you. I love every one of you. Bye for now.